What's up, you guys? It's Steve here with huge breaking news as information has just been leaked from the White House. Word on the street on Capitol Hill is that President Joe Biden, he's going to be enacting executive actions starting tomorrow. That is right, you guys. Now, we've heard this has been coming, and there's going to be a laundry list of stimulus executive actions coming here right before midterm elections. Here we go. I'm going to get you caught up on the latest coming out in just the past couple hours. This is your breaking news, stimulus check update and stimulus package update. Now, first off, take a look at the headlines coming out left and right, you guys. Biden closes in on student loan forgiveness plan and extension of repayment pause. Biden nears decision on canceling $10,000 in student loans as allies feud. That is right, wiping out the student loan debt. Biden nears a decision on student loan cancellation moratorium extension. Biden poised to forgive $10,000 of student loan debt and extend the final repayment pause. And Biden's planning student loan announcement Wednesday, tomorrow, you guys. So we've been hearing this for quite some time. I've been reporting this to you here on the channel that executive actions after the passage of the reconciliation bill would unfold for all of the provisions that were not included that progressives are pushing the president to see, the first of which we heard was going to be executive actions for student loan debt forgiveness and an extension of the moratorium, which we're hearing is going to be coming tomorrow. Now, we're going to be seeing what other executive actions follow this as we get closer to the midterm elections, everything unfolding exactly as we have heard, you guys. And we had mentioned this just a couple days ago. We had heard that it was going to be this week that we were going to have the first arrival of executive orders by the president. Now, why is this all happening? It's because we've heard it's the strategy, and we're hearing that it's going to work, that politicians, they wait until the elections to get everything done, and we're expecting that stimulus is going to win the elections. We're hearing from Republicans, even Republicans in the Senate right now. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is saying this is the Democrats' plan and it's probably going to work. They're probably going to pass a ton of stimulus as we get close to elections. The American people are going to see it. And they're going to say, hey, these guys aren't so bad, and they're going to keep them in power in Congress. Stimulus is going to win. Now, you guys, I'm going to dive into some video footage that's just coming out as this is being reported that it's going to be coming likely tomorrow and what's going to be unfolding here. And also, there's reports coming out that, yes, he's going to wipe out $10,000 per borrower. Now, this is something that he had run his campaign on to become president, finally fulfilling that promise 2 years later. And we're hearing that it's going to hurt the economy with inflation. Now, there's differing opinions on this. Let me know your thoughts. But we're hearing that this is going to worsen our inflationary situation from one economist. Now, we will see. And he's also going to mention stimulus checks. And he's saying, yes, you could send out stimulus checks to help out people with inflation. But the problem is that by doing that, you will spark more inflation. Now, if there was a way that they could do that with existing funds and send out checks to everybody, that could probably help send some additional assistance, some direct payments to people without adding to inflation. But they're saying that this very first one with student loan forgiveness, this is going to hurt our economy. Now, let me know your thoughts, you guys. Now, do you think they should even do this? I've heard a lot of people say, forget student loan debt. If you're going to do anything, do the stimulus checks. The stimulus checks were the top provision, most popular amongst the American people, and we heard the number one that helped fight poverty during the pandemic. They're saying send out the fourth federal level stimulus checks. Now, let me know your thoughts. My guess would be if I was a politician waiting till the last minute to start passing stimulus so that way it's fresh in the minds of voters, I'd probably start with student loan debt, then maybe do like child tax credits, Social Security increases, free childcare, free college tuition, and then the last one, right before people hit the polls, would probably be those stimulus checks. Start sending them out. But let me know your thoughts, you guys. What do you think? Now, also, we've heard that there could be promises of these following the elections. We've heard Republicans say that if they get into power, then after they're going to pass provisions once they're in control. So we will see, you guys. But this just coming out. Let's go ahead and dive into the video footage so you can hear it for yourself, hear what they're saying is going to be the impacts on our economy, and you let me know in the comments, what do you think about all this, you guys? So let's dive right in. Now, before we do, also wanted to mention www.reliefroadmap.com. Over 9,000 people have now signed up to get access to the comprehensive list of every single stimulus check in the nation. There's not just the federal level checks. There's states, cities, counties sending out checks all the time, only available for a limited amount of time. You got to know about them. You got to apply. You got to be eligible. And we're hearing that people just don't even know that these exist. And it's very sad that there's this money out there to help people and they're not getting it. And we're hearing that politicians in a lot of cases are not motivated to get the word out either. Well, you guys, I'm not going to let that happen here. Anything that you could possibly get, I want to make sure that you know about it. Even if you're not eligible, I want to make sure that you are aware of everything going on. So you guys, if you have not already, please add your email to the waitlist, www.reliefroadmap.com, so that way you can get access to every single thing available in the nation. And we're hearing new ones are popping up all the time. I'm going to be adding them to there so that way you can have access to that. So going to have that ready for you here very soon. We actually have over 100 different stimulus check programs active right now and some on the way. Just working out some website stuff, working through some technical issues. Going to have that for you very soon. Going to be sending out an email blast for you today. But you guys, let's dive into this executive order announcement. Now, before we do me a quick favor, smash the like button for me. Helps out the channel a ton if you appreciate the updates. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out if you think it could help out other people. If this is your first time here and you want to stay up to date, it's totally free. Why not? Come join the Ram fam. All you got to do is very quickly hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell. I cite all the sources so you know it's the latest. Put it on the screen, read right from the articles so you can see it for yourself. And if you got any specific questions for me, guys, shoot them to me in the DM on Instagram at SteveRam3. Best way to get a hold of me personally directly, and I'll do my best to help you out with any questions that you got. And also, I got a second channel, Steve Ram Finance. Consider joining. Link in the description below. Steve Ram Finance, where you can learn about growing wealth and personal finance. But with that being said, you guys, let's go ahead and dive into the video footage. And first, let's take a look at the announcement. And then after that, let's take a look at some video footage as they're saying this could hurt our economy right now with the way inflation is. Let's go ahead and dive right in.
News on the student debt crisis. The White House is getting close to a decision on loan forgiveness. It could come as early as tomorrow. NBC News correspondent Maura Barrett is joining us now. She's traveling with the president in Delaware. Maura, what more can you tell us about the president's decision here?
Well, Aaron, according to multiple sources familiar with conversations with the White House, the president is considering relieving up to $10,000 worth of student debt for borrowers who make less than $125,000 a year. And now this is something that was a campaign promise for President Biden back on the campaign trail ahead of 2020. And so this is something that has been heavily watched, especially as we come up against that August 31st deadline for the current moratorium. He's also expected to extend that current pause to help relieve any debt for people that haven't been able to pay since the pandemic. Now, the White House has said that they will make an announcement before August 31st, but emphasizes that no final decision has been made yet. In terms of timing on when we might find out the specifics about it, in terms of as soon as tomorrow, we know that the president today is his last full day here in Rehoboth, and he's expected to travel back to Washington, D.C. Tomorrow, but we haven't received official guidance or any added events to his schedule yet. So that's definitely something we'll be watching closely, Aaron.
You know, I have to wonder, Maura, how is the White House responding to pressure from Democrats, from Democratic lawmakers who have been calling on the president really to do more for student loan holders?
Well, the president's chief of staff, Ron Klain, made a call on Friday to multiple Democratic lawmakers such as Chuck Schumer, Elizabeth Warren, and Raphael Warnock, who have been big advocates of student debt relief. And according to a source familiar with the call, he asked them to do as much as they can on this issue. And this is something, obviously, as you noted, there's a lot of pressure on the White House from both lawmakers and activists asking President Biden to relieve as much as $50,000 of the debt, though President Biden has said he would probably stay away from that number. A White House spokesperson reminded again that the president will have more to say on this before August 31st, and also reminded that this administration has already canceled about $32 billion in debt for more than 1.6 million Americans, and that's more than any administration in history. So obviously the work that he's done, already a win in their mind, but a lot of pressure to make even more headway. Aaron.
All right, Maura Barrett for us today. Maura, thank you.
So there you have it, you guys. That coming out as tomorrow we're hearing executive actions from the president could be coming out. Now, the question remains, how is this going to impact the economy? Let me know your thoughts, because wiping out the student loan debt, it's essentially almost like President Joe Biden is going to be giving out $10,000 stimulus checks to all of these borrowers. They're all going to get it, and it's going to wipe out the debt. It doesn't just go away. It's almost like they're giving out stimulus checks of $10,000 to these borrowers. What do you think that's going to do to our economy? Now, that's the argument right now they're talking about with stimulus checks, is if they issue out new checks, new funds, funds, that's going to be new debt, and that's going to impact inflation. And you're going to hear this economist, he's going to be saying this is going to hurt us in our economic situation. Now, if there was a way to do it with existing funds, that could be one way that would not add to debt and inflation. It's already issued out, just sitting there untouched in coffers in the White House. We're hearing there's $800 billion. We could use that. However, they're saying that this move of student loan forgiveness is going to hurt the economy. Now, let me know your thoughts. Take a look at this video footage.
Right now, the White House is weighing what to do about college loans, as the current pause on most federal student loan payments is set to expire at the end of this month. Well, CNN's new reporting overnight is that officials are leaning toward canceling up to $10,000 in debt for borrowers who make less than $125,000 a year. This decision could come as soon as tomorrow, we're hearing. So let's talk about it, the implications, what this would mean. With Mark Goldwine, he is a senior vice president and senior policy director for the nonpartisan committee for a responsible federal budget, also an econ professor at Johns Hopkins. It's good to have you, Mark. Thanks very much.
Thanks for having me.
So I read through all your analysis, and basically it shows that canceling this student loan debt for folks would undermine the inflationary work that the Inflation Reduction Act is set to do and what the administration wants it to do. Why? Why do they cancel each other out?
Well, so the Inflation Reduction Act saves maybe $300 billion in the first 10 years. If we do cancel $10,000 of debt and just extend the pause a few months, we're going to be at about that much in terms of new costs. So all the deficit reduction is going to be wiped out. At the same time, we're probably going to do more to increase inflation from debt cancellation than any inflation reduction from the Inflation Reduction Act.
Okay, so I want to get to the second point you made, and that is, what is inflationary and what is disinflationary. So there are a bunch of economists. I'd say Mark Zandi at Moody's, also former Labor Department economist Heidi Shierholz, who say they think you're wrong, right? And let me talk about Shierholz, for example, who worked in the Obama administration. She says your analysis is, quote, profoundly off base. And the reason she says that is she points to the 2+ year moratorium we've already had on student debt payment. And she says basically folks have had this money in their pockets for 2+ years. And so canceling the student loan debt would not effectively put more money in their pocket right now. How do you respond to that?
Yeah, so what these folks are doing is they're playing a baseline trick. They're pretending that we're going to extend this repayment pause forever. And it's true. Compared to extending the temporary emergency era repayment pause forever, just canceling debt and restarting payments would be disinflationary. But that's not the right comparison. The right comparison is compared to repayments starting in about a week as scheduled. This was always meant to be a temporary pause. If it's a permanent pause, it's not student debt, it's student grants.
I think what complicates this picture, right, for the average viewer watching right now is that they're dealing with inflation near a 40-year high. They're dealing with much more expensive groceries. Gas has come down a bit, but it's still more than what they're used to. More expensive housing, transportation, clothing, I could go on and on. So I just wonder if you're concerned at the possibility that restarting these payments, right, in a few days, worsens that burden on Americans struggling with this inflation in this moment. That's the reality, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what it's going to do. And it's not as if this is going to lift inflation from 8% to 9%. What this is going to do is make it more difficult for us to get inflation down to 2 or 3%, which is where it really should be. It's going to make the Fed's job harder, and that means it's going to increase the risk they're going to have to drive us into a recession to get inflation under control.
But it's also going to mean another bill, significant monthly bill for some folks on top of their higher bills because of inflation right now, right? And you're saying that's a burden the American people have to bear given the other more negative effects in your analysis?
Yeah, that's sort of the catch-22 of this all. We could send everybody another round of checks to pay for their inflation costs, but that would actually make inflation worse. What we need to do now is get inflation under control. One of the easiest ways to do that is to ask people to start paying back the debt they already owe, to start making the principal payments that they already agreed to. And by the way, while not everybody that has student debt is rich, disproportionately, student debt is being held by people that have advanced degrees and pretty good income, and they can bear it a lot more than everyday Americans that are seeing the cost of their gasoline and clothing go up.
So there you have it, you guys. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. We're hearing that it is going to be tomorrow where we're going to have the first of many executive actions coming out from the president for stimulus ahead of these midterm elections. It's going to be wiping out $10,000 of student loan debt, one of the things that he had promised on the campaign trail when he was running for president, and also extending out the moratorium. And what will happen with child tax credits, Social Security increases, stimulus checks, all the other things that we've heard promised. Do you think they're going to come to pass? We will see you guys, and I will keep you up to date every step of the way. But it's very likely tomorrow we will see executive actions from the president, and I'll let you know right here. But that is the latest, you guys, and as always, thank you so much for joining me. If you made it this far and you haven't already, don't forget to take a quick second, smash the like button if you appreciate the updates. Helps out the channel a ton, just takes a second. Thank you so much. Also, leave your comments, share this out. If you want to stay up to date, totally free, why not? Come join the Ram fam. All you got to do is very quickly hit the subscribe button, turn on that notification bell. Any specific questions for me, hop onto Instagram, shoot me a DM at SteveRam3. Consider joining my second channel, Steve Ram Finance, to learn about growing wealth and personal finance. And also, if you haven't already, add your email to the waitlist at www.reliefroadmap.com to get access to the comprehensive list of every single stimulus check in the nation, states, cities, counties at your disposal. You can see what is available so you don't miss out on anything. Going to keep you up to date on all of it, you guys. But with that being said, once again, thank you so much for joining me. I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. God bless. This is Steve.